Hello and welcome back to Creepy Cutie Crafty. Welcome back to yet another crafting video with me, Heather. Hi guys, how are we doing this week? So yeah, this week I am back with my slightly mad freestyle stitching project, getting on to the next part of this. So bear with me 1 second. I am now at the point of just starting to fill in some of these little gaps. Down at the bottom here, I've got some empty areas around the corner here, and I've got these areas in the middle. I'm going to have one more piece of fabric-ish to add, and then I'm going to add some trim. And I keep picking this out, and every week I say I'm going to put this on, and then every week I manage to completely forget to put it on. So today I'm putting it on, but I don't know where. So I'm first of all going to try and nibble out a little tiny bit, and then maybe I'm going to scrunch it up, or maybe I'll have it flat. I don't know. Maybe put it in flat down here. So let me see. That area is kind of like that. So I'm going to cut this in half, and I'm also obviously going to get some sequins all over the place on my piece, but that's fine. I can live with that. Put that over there. I'll bring this back over here. Yeah, got a little bit of sequins there, and I'm just going to park it in here and do some scrumbling of it. Scrumbling as in screwing up in bits and pieces. Today I'll bring that a bit closer to it. There we go. Today I am on my embroidery hoop, so I can use both my hands because I've got a few bits and pieces that I want to have a try at in the next little while. But we'll see how that goes. Same as usual, I am making it up as I go along. And yeah, so yeah, if you're new here, hi, I'm Heather. I am a crafter, obviously, and I am quite open to embracing the chaos, as you can see me doing here. So with this idea, basically what I'm doing is I am stitching whatever textures, whatever decorations, whatever, you know, additional like extras that pop into my little brain, and stitching them all down and just seeing what works. I have no particular plan in mind for this. I am just stitching down to see what happens. As I say, this is a freestyle stitching project, and at the moment I am just adding on textural like fabrics and bits and pieces like that. I'm not going in with any particular plan. I'm just adding what feels right and seeing how it falls. It's working out quite nicely so far. Some of the bits are a bit unusual. I think the sort of screwed up fabric is adding some nice texture here and there, but I want to add some more stitched details, as well as adding things like some notions and buttons and bits and pieces like that. These were very much inspired by one of my friends over here on YouTube, and that is Christine from Create and Craft with Christine. And Christine is an embroiderer and fabric artist who really sort of embraces the natural sort of side of representation here. So she does quite a lot of inspired by nature projects, which are absolutely gorgeous and very much worth looking at. So that's Create and Craft with Christine. If you can't remember what I'm saying, just go and have a look on my my description. I'll put in the description for this video a link to her videos as well. I am not doing inspired by nature. I am doing inspired by whatever occurs to me at the time. I'm not aiming for any kind of natural form emulation. I'm not aiming for any kind of realism, any representation. I'm just stitching until I run out of space, and then adding on top of that just to see what happens next. I am not worried about it looking perfect at any stage. I think it's one of those things where it's going to have to go through the sort of the ugly stage before it starts to make more sense. But I really am enjoying what I'm doing here, and I'm enjoying taking the time to sort of slow stitch without a goal in mind, because if you go back through my videos, if you've been here for a while, or if you're new here, you know, go back through my videos, you'll see that there's an awful lot of sort of formal stitching, like black work and Sashiko and white work, very formalized, very sort of detailed counted stitches that are absolutely amazing to make and really, really engaging. But they do take a lot of focus, and they do have, as I say, a very, very formal, expected way of laying things out. You have to, you know, count the stitches, you have to have particular lengths of stitches, you have to do X, Y, Z. I mean, you know, if you're doing a formal type of stitching like that, you can obviously go your own way and do your own thing, which I have done in the past, but you kind of want to try and initially, at the very least, follow a plan, follow an instruction to make sure that you're doing it the right way. Now I like that you can see it's not flat, and it makes the most of those little sparkles, but it's sort of tucked in behind the cloth here. I'm just going to put an extra stitch in here just to bring that cloth into a little bit more of a shape, just that way. And yeah, I'm not just screwing up the fabric here, honest gov, I am actually trying to make it textured in a way that's pleasing to me anyway. And yes, so let's see if I can scooch that up there as well. But yeah, so it's been a very busy week. It's been an absolutely hectic week, to be honest with you. We came back from my parents the Saturday before last, and then since then we've been inundated with various bits and pieces that are happening. So this week has been GCSE week, so people have been getting their results, and Squinks, that they did really, really well with their GCSEs. They grade GCSEs here from 1 to 9 now, and it used to be sort of, it took me a while to work out what was the equivalent to ABCs, but because that was the old system of, you know, you'd have A, B and C and so on as the grades, but Squinks has basically got the equivalent of 5 Bs, lower Bs, and 4 Bs and 4 Cs, which is really, really good. That's 8 straight up passes, and I'm really pleased with them for what they've done. However, unfortunately, the school that they were hoping to go to has said that grade is too low, which is kind of crazy to me. And Squinks, bless them, has had a bit of a disappointing week because of that. They were hoping to do music at a school near here, but they've said straight flat, you know, you have to have 5 grade 5s and above, otherwise you can't get in, which is kind of sad. Unfortunately, Squinks, as many of you will know, has had quite a time at their school doing their GCSEs, and it's been quite a struggle, but we are so proud of them for having got what they've got and for achieving in spite of those conditions. But anyway, we're going to be moving onwards and upwards and trying to find ways for them to bounce back. Right, so I've got some more bits of trim down here, so I think I'm going to sort of have that bit snaking through there somehow. I'm going to start, oh dear, where should I start? I will start there. I want it to be sort of loosey-goosey because I want it to be, as I say, textured. I don't want it to be fixed to the surface and invisible. So I'm going to try and make it a bit more interesting. Well, interesting to me anyway. Have you guys had a go at this kind of stitching? What kind of stitching, what kinds of decorations do you prefer for your work? Everyone's got their own preferences, haven't they? And for me, I really do like doing more formal type stitching, but at the same time, every so often you just want to let loose, let rip, and have some fun and just throw things at the wall and see what happens. Even with my more formal stitching, I've never been much of a person for sticking to a plan, sticking to a design. I always sort of go my own way. I've done, you know, a few things where I've stuck to the plan. So like last year I made the wheat sheaf project with gold work using a kit, but that was very definitely a planned kit, because it, you know, you had an image in mind that you were aiming for. However, I also do like gold work and black work and things, and I have a very loose sort of general idea of what I want to create, but I never really have a formal idea of this part has to go here, that part has to go there. It becomes very much more freestyle, and I do like having that little bit of freedom. Right, I'm just going to tie this off, and I'll get a new bit of thread, and I'll be back in a sec, so see you in a sec. Okay, so I'm back again, and yeah, just adding some more little anchoring stitches down here, and I've got a lot more in the rest of the design that I want to add some more bits of trim and things to. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing here. But yes, I like how it's looking. I like how there's, you know, there's interest in the different areas. Some of it's a little bit sort of surprising, but I think it's turning out quite interesting. But yes, does it look just like a mess to you, or is it looking more intentional? It's an odd one, isn't it, really? I mean, you remember, well, anybody who's been with me for a long time will remember that a while ago I did a patchwork and applique and embroidered bag that I called the mishmash bag, and again I was using more formal sort of stitching, but I was also I wasn't laying them out properly. I was just sort of, oh, where's what stitch am I going to try today? I'll try this stitch. Oh, I'll try that stitch. It was never, oh, I need to have this in this area and plan it all out and make it look pretty. So even when I'm doing the very much more formalized designs, much more formalized styles of stitching, I'm still making it up as I go along, and it seems to be working. So, you know, I'm not complaining, and it's definitely going places. What those places are, I don't know, but it's definitely going places. And I keep losing track of where I am because I'm so zoomed in. I'll move you back again. As I say, I'm on my lap tray, on my my lap stand, my embroidery stand, and I keep forgetting how high up it is. So let me just see if I can lower you down a bit. That's a bit better. There we go. Can you see better? You can. Yay! My gosh, everything's Heath Robinson today. So like I say, we've all been sort of put into a bit of, not turmoil, but a bit of an emergency mode, because we're trying to work out what Squinks is going to be doing next. And we're just trying to support them as much as humanly possible, because they didn't deserve, you know, this bad event to happen. They've been working very, very hard in some quite tough circumstances, and it's just unfortunate that at the end of the day they're the ones who've, you know, got it in the neck from the school, when they deserved an awful lot better than they did. Right, so what am I going to do next? I'm going to snip this off under here so that I've got that bit all set out there. I like the way it's sort of winding in and hiding behind things. And I've got some buttons and beads and things that I want to add, but what should I do now? I'm going to add a little bit of this trim. Actually, that's an interesting idea. What I'll do is I will snip off a little bit of this trim, like that. And where did I put my needle? This is always the fun part. Oh, there we go. It's in the back there. I'm going to put that through there. Poke it into there. Poke it a bit further forward, I think, and into there. I've got quite a few blacks in this area, so I think having a little bit more won't hurt. I do like using the darker tones, that's just kind of my preference anyway. So I've got a little bit of a loop hanging out there, and I'll do, oopsie daisy, another slightly bigger loop coming out here. And they're sort of fanning out, aren't they, like that? I think that was quite interesting. I'm trying to get sort of vertical texture now. And I'll do one more. And I could add some beads or some buttons and things in there, and just see what happens then. And back in I go. And there we are. As I say, I can cover that little bit of mess over there with some buttons and beads and see how that looks at the end of the day. Right, so I'm going to tie that off and get on with the last bit that I'm going to be doing on this bit today. But I'm going to come in with some embroidery thread, so I'll see you in a second. See you in a sec. Okay, so I've come back. I've got myself some variegated embroidery thread. It's just 3 strands, but what I've done is I've doubled it up so that I've got a knot on the end, but you can see I've got a twist there of the lighter and the darker blue, so that could be an interesting effect, but we'll see. And I'm going to come in there, oopsie daisy, do myself a little tiny anchor stitch, yes there. And I'm using weird voices because of course I am, but yeah, so just kind of filling up this area here. I suppose I could have done this decorative stitching and then filled up the whole area, but you know me, if you've been here before, you know I never really take the easy option. I always wind up getting myself into knots. Like the number of times people have said to me, you should use shorter threads. I should, yeah, you're right. But every time I forget. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just loop that around there like that and poke it into there, and we shall see how this works. I've seen this little technique done. Oh, I can't even show you. Hold on, I will bring you around. So what I've done is I've got my thread, and I've gone in here like this. So I've got one end going in, one end coming back out again, out, and I'm pulling back through here, and then with this pin I'm just going, whoopsie daisy, to there, like that, and coming back on the side over here. And someone's shouting outside. I don't know what they're shouting for, but we'll find out at some point, won't we? I'm sure. Just bringing that through, not bringing it through too tight, and then oopsie daisy, I'm coming in there behind the pin. Oops. And I'm still not showing you because I've got myself all twisted up. My gosh, I'm doing well today, aren't I? So you can see I've got the pin there. This would be a lot easier if I'd have done this before I'd put down the fabric, but such is life. And then just come back in. Oops. Hold on, I'm going to lengthen that a little bit, I think. Bear with me. Okay, so let's come back in again. Sorry guys, I went all quiet there for a second. Again, I am concentrating. I'm going to pin that into there so it's got a bit of strength to it. So you can see I've got that pinned in there. I've got these 3 threads coming through, so I'm going to post that behind there and then just bring that through. But before I finish it, I'm going to do a little knot on the end. Like I say, I've seen people do these kinds of decorative stitches before, but I've never really had a go at them before, so this is me trying out something new, which again, I'm living dangerously. So I'm going to start coming in and just weaving through the 3 layers like that, and back again. And just keep going through. I'm going to push that pin all the way through so I don't keep catching it. And back again. And you can tell I'm focusing because I've stopped talking again, haven't I? But yeah, so I mean, it's been a bit of a mad week. It's going to be a mad few months, I think, trying to get ourselves all sorted and ready for whatever next steps that Squinks does. But yeah, we're going to be behind them all the way. It's been a mad week, as I say, but it's not something that we can't deal with if we work together. Same as always, you know, you got to be there and you got to help where you can. But yes, I mean, they've said quite clearly that they really do want to do art more than music, but also they do want to do the music. So we've started looking at like animation courses and stuff, because that is something that they did for a long time, but then obviously they got caught up in school and in their studies and things. So we're going to start catching up with that again and start doing some more animations and some more creative ideas like that. So yes, this is a little bit fiddly and a little bit squinky, but I think it's coming together. So what I'll do is, as you can see, I'm sort of weaving it together, and I'm going to try and get it all the way down to the end here, and I will come back at the end of the video with a close-up photo so you can see what I'm doing. But for now, what I'm going to do to make it a little bit easier for myself is I'm going to pick up that 3rd there, and oops daisy, that 3rd there, and just try and keep them a bit more separate, just so I can weave them a little bit more effectively. And that might also affect the finished thing, but we'll see how that goes. So I think that needs to come back up through there. Yeah, that's a lot easier having that separated by those 2 pins. And I can now turn my needle over and do it eye first. I hope you guys can see this because it is quite close and it is quite fiddly. But yes. There we go. This isn't really a demonstration of how to do it. This is more how not to do it, because, again, I'm learning as I go, and I'm talking about what I'm learning as I'm doing it. So, yeah. I'm sure you guys have got much better techniques for doing this than I do. So, you know, if you've got any ideas, feel free to let me know down in the comments, because, you know, I always welcome suggestions. But yeah, so yeah, we're gearing up for autumn. That means I'm starting to look at my autumn projects, and I'm starting to look at the different kind of weavings and other kinds of bits and pieces that I want to do. And am I going to do any projects for Halloween? I do like doing projects for Halloween. I mean, I sort of kind of am, because I've got my Mary Shelley blackwork project to get started, but there's also a lot of other bits and pieces that I've got going on as well. So once again, you know, yours truly getting very much caught up in all sorts of ideas and all sorts of suggestions and all sorts of bits and pieces, and thinking about what I want to do in the next case scenario. So, you know, and yeah, I'll be finishing most of this off screen, and you can tell me what you think of it when you get to the end of the video. It's slow, but it's getting there, and I'm going to do a few of these in this little area. So we've got like a little, almost like tendrils from a plant coming through, and I think it should look fun. But yes, so hold on, I'll do one more stitch, and you can see how that is starting to come together. And I'm being very careful not to tear the fabric underneath. But yeah, I'm going to do that all the way down there and then see if I can curl it. But as I say, keep your eye out for that one at the end of the video, and we'll see how we go. And I'll do some more of those in other parts of here as well as other decorative stitching and embroidery stitching. And next week I'm hoping to come in with like the buttons and beads and other things that I can fill the spaces with, and we'll see how we go. Anyway, I'll be back in a bit with my other projects, so I'll see you in a few seconds. Bye bye. Okay, so I'm back again, and I'm continuing with this now. I'm starting to put the Sashiko bag together. This is the flap that's going to go over the front, and this is the pockets that are going to go on the back. I literally started this video, then realised that I actually put this panel in upside down, so the pockets were upside down. Not very helpful, but fortunately I really realised before I started stitching. But I've got this little strip, like two inches wide, that's joining the front and the back. And I'm not going to be doing any huge sort of decorative stitches here. I'm just doing straight running stitch, just to get it all nicely in place and secured. And yeah, we'll see how we go after that. So this is kind of one of the last sort of stages of this bag. So it's just getting these flaps put together. Then I'm going to sort out the lining for all the bits and pieces, and then I'm going to start constructing it. I was thinking of using my sewing machine for a lot of the construction. I might still, I don't know, it depends on how time goes. But it seems to be coming together quite quickly now. So I'm just starting on the actual construction part of the bag, putting it all together and bringing the whole project to a conclusion. And hopefully I'll have a nice bag in the next week or so. So yeah, this week is going to be a bit manic because I've taken on some extra days at work. You can see how it's overlapping here at the back. So in the central panel, I've chosen kind of an area it's interesting. You can see how sunny it is. This is sunlight. I don't often get sunlight falling on here, but I figured why not make use of it. But I'm using this central panel here, and you can see it's a little bit worn. It's a little bit sort of, it's been nailed on because this is from old pairs of jeans. So that's why when I've overlapped it, I've done it in such a way that the back panel overlaps the front, so you've got a bit of extra support behind, because this is basically going to hold the front panel in place. But I'm starting to just stitch it together, and at the moment it is stitch by stitch, but once I get into it I'll start, you know, doing multiple stitches at a time. But it is quite thick, so I'm expecting this to take quite a while for me to get it complete. But like I say, this week is going to be a bit manic. We're trying to help Squinks sort out what college they're going to be going to. As I say, they applied to do a course in one school, didn't quite get the grades. They were 1 grade off, believe it or not, for getting into that school. There's still a chance they could get in, because we might sort of question the grades and get them to do a remark and things, because in some of them they were very, very close. But we're also going to be looking at other options. They've got a lot of skill and they've done really well, and you know, they've had a really, really tough time going through school. They've had friends that haven't really been friends, if you know what I mean. They've also had quite a lot of bullying and other bits and pieces to cope with, and they've come out with very good grades for somebody who's been in that position. And there's still, you know, time for them to get into another college or another school that will be able to serve their needs better. And unfortunately, they, as I say, they are very good at their music. Music is one of the things that they really love. They love art and design, and they love music. But they didn't get a particularly good grade, because in this country it seems like, you know, music is a bit of an afterthought in terms of the curriculum. And there's not much provision for it. And the teacher that they had, he talked a lot about how good he was and how, you know, he's supporting all the students and stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't think he was supporting anywhere near as much as he was, you know, trying to say that he was supporting. So much so that it turns out that this year, the school that they went to, the one that they've just come from, where they took their GCSEs, apparently they're no longer doing the music GCSE anyway, because there's so low marks being achieved in it. And yet they had somebody in Squinks who could have got a really high mark, because they're doing music lessons outside of school, and yet the teacher decided not to capitalise on that, which is kind of frustrating. But you know, it just means that there's scope for them to do better, to find somebody who's more suitable for their needs, and to get themselves sorted. So anyway, that's all to come. It just means we're going to have a busy week, and I'm also working extra days this week, because you know it's the summer holidays, and we need extra people at the museums and stuff. So it's very busy. And as I say, you know, this is the sunlight that's coming through. I'm sitting several feet from my front window, and the sun is blazing through. The heat is coming back in again. We had a couple of days of rain last week, which was very, very good. Very much of a relief for me personally. But the heat is back again, and we've been told that there's another heat wave on the way, which is not what I want to hear at all. But unfortunately, that's where we are. So we've got that sorted out. I've got my work days to sort out. We've got some applications to get in place. We've got my gosh, so many things going on. And in the middle of it all, I'm trying to get ahead with my sewing and my other projects. And yeah, so I mean, I'm really looking forward to getting this bag itself constructed. And I think on the next part of this project, once I've got the bag itself put together with the lining and with everything else, the next part of the project is going to be something that's a bit unusual for me, because I'm going to be having a go at doing some weaving. I'm going to be doing some band weaving, sort of backstrap weaving that you've seen me do here before, to make the strap for the bag, which I'm really looking forward to. But there's something else I'm going to be making before I do that, so that I can do that more effectively. And it's something that's a bit unusual, and it's not going to be with fabric, and it's not going to be with needle and thread. So you might want to tune in to see that. It might go amazingly, it might go horribly. We shall see when we get to it, shan't we? Oh yes. But that's just where we are. Yep. I'm not doing any, as I say, I'm not doing any sort of special stitches here. I'm doing some long, some short, trying to sort of intersperse it as we go through. I've also got this patch of empty denim here. I might leave it as it is, because it's kind of interesting having the one area without stitches all over it. But then again, I might just come in and do some more sort of starry stitches like the one I did around the soot sprites so many weeks ago. But yeah, but there we go. So yeah, it's I'm trying to catch up with an awful lot of things, and it's an uphill battle at the moment because there is so many things going on, and that's always the way, isn't it? It's like, you know, you've got a million things happening. Oh, here comes somebody to give you 1,000,001 things. So, you know, it's however busy you are, there's always somebody waiting to make it busier, isn't there? But yeah, I'm going to be coming in with some white thread as well, so I can intersperse it. But I do like having the red lead on certain areas like this. So I managed to get finished all of my parts for the strap. So this part here, that's the base of the bag, and then it leads into these wiggly lines that come up to the ring that's going to have the strap attached. And I do the same on the other side, and again this is all going to be lined with the same camo type fabric that I've lined these pockets with, so you can see all the sort of camouflage pattern on there. I've done the pocket for the back of the bag as well, and it's all coming together. It's been both faster than I expected and slower, which is kind of a weird way to say things, but the construction of the bag I was expecting to take a long time, but it's actually coming together quite nicely. And as I say, thank heavens I noticed that was the wrong way up, because otherwise that would have been a very big pain in the bum to change. But you know, it's one of those things. It was a near miss, and just lets me know that next time I've got to check before I do something, start stitching it all together, you know. It's like when you watch the Great British Sewing Bee and someone said, "Oh no, I'm putting the zip upside down," and you think, how could you have done that? It's right in front of you, could you not see it? And then you go and do the same thing yourself. So, you know, nobody's perfect, but yeah, we're all improving, aren't we? But there we go. This is going to be a little bit another one of those doing the same thing for 20 minutes type episodes, because as I say, it's one of the things that has to be done, but it's just a bit slow going. And I might, you know, call it a day after 20 minutes so that you can, because I mean, you can see what I'm doing here, so it's not like I'm doing anything new and exciting, but it's slowly coming together, and I really like how it's looking. But also I'm thinking about, with the backstrap weaving and with all these other bits and pieces, I'm starting to think about the other bits of project work that I want to get started over in the autumn. I've been looking at some things like mushroom embroidery designs, and I've been having a look at things like beetles and bugs and pumpkins, all the things that are setting up for the time of the year. And this is this would usually be my favourite time of year, but of course we're still having an Indian summer at the moment. We're having a very long summer, and it's probably going to be just as hot, if not more so, when we actually get into September, which is very, very strange. But, you know, we're getting to the point where we can start thinking about having pumpkin spice coffee and things like that. And I know it's a bit of a trope, but I actually do like pumpkin spice coffee. Quite often when we go to the coffee retailers that we have, like for bags of ground coffee, I like to get the pumpkin spice, but I like to buy quite a bit of it because I like to have it the rest of the year too. I mean, cinnamon and nutmeg and those kinds of spices, they're my favourite spices because they're so nice and warming, and they do remind me at this time of year. So even in the blazing hot summers, I will still have my yummy pumpkin spice. And if you don't like it, then don't have it yourself. You know, it's a free world, and you can have things that other people don't like. It's absolutely fine. But there we go. And possibly making some marshmallows. was thinking of getting started on more cooking things. So I'm looking at more recipes and things to have a go at in the autumn as well. And one of the things that I say every year that I would like to do is make some soup. And every year I make, for years I used to make batches of lovely warming winter soup with like bacon and pumpkin and winter veggies and things. But I haven't done so for a few years now. You can see how bright the sun is at the moment. But I'm very much looking forward to starting to make some stews and some casseroles and things like that. I do make a good casserole, I've got to be honest with you. A lovely, yummy sausage casserole. Just perfect for the winter with some potatoes and some, root veggies and things in it. It's always nice to have, and it's always filling, but, when it's warm days like this, you don't want warm stuff like that. But as the days start to draw in, I can start planning more and more tasty things. And it's quite funny because it's like people go, oh, but soups and stews, they aren't very quick. They are, but there's an awful lot of waiting with them. And I kind of get confused when people say, oh, it's so much effort, it takes hours to cook a casserole. It does, but you're not the one powering the oven. So you leave it in the oven, it cooks itself, and then you come back and you serve it up. You might occasionally go in and give it a stir, but you don't actually need to do anything. So I don't know why people object to how long it's going to take when that length of time is mostly waiting for it to cook by itself in the oven. It's a very strange thing. I suppose people like to have this thing of, I want this thing right now. That's all well and good, but for a stew, for a soup, for a casserole, for yummy things like that, time is your friend. Taking the time and using those terrible long hours whilst it's cooking to go and read a book or to go and do some crafting, that sounds like a good afternoon to me. What do you think, guys? Where do you fall on the casserole debate? Do you prefer to have food that's quick and easy, or do you like to have food that takes a long time to cook and becomes a lovely, comforting evening meal? Again, all tastes are allowed, aren't they? But anyway, so yeah, I'm getting on for my 15th minute of doing this, and you can see it is literally just coming back and forth with the red thread, and it's going to be filling the whole thing with stitches like this. Oh, the sun's just gone behind a cloud, and out it comes again. And that seems to me to be a fairly strong join. It's gone through all those layers behind in the true Sashiko style, and it's made it nice and solid, so it's nice and firm there, and I think that'll do really well as the top for my as the hinge for the flap of the bag, which is what it's supposed to be there for. And next week I can start putting in the other parts and get it all together. So I'm not going to bore you. I'm going to sign off in just a moment, and I'll keep you all appraised of the situation, and obviously when you get to the end of the video, keep your eye out for pictures of the story so far. And I always like to try and post updates on both YouTube and on Instagram, so you can see how far I'm going with it. And on Instagram I'm also Creepy Cutie Crafty, so you can see updates of the things that I've made as well. So it is all coming together slowly but surely. It's coming together, and yeah, there's a reason why they call this slow stitch. It's because it takes time, but we spend the time on the things that we think are worth it, don't we, at the end of the day? And I think making and recycling and reusing and creating things that are attractive, that are useful, that are economic is a good thing to do. But anyway, so I'll be continuing with my my mad freehand design off screen as well, and I'll post a picture of that at the end too. So I do try to add a bit more before I get to the end of the video, so before I post the video, so I can post it at the end of the video so you can see what I'm doing. But it just depends on the time you've got. But yes, anyway, gonna get to the end of this line. It's in line with the shade that's coming from the window, and I will say in a second. Let me know what you think of this down in the comments, and whilst you're down there, please remember to like and subscribe and all those lovely little things that help a tiny channel like mine to grow. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So, oopsie daisy, let's get that through there. Thank you very much for watching, and bye bye.